Large belt sanders travel at about 19 meters per second. That's about 4 times as fast as you can run. So when it gobbles its own lead, there's not much you can do about it. But do you remember a couple of videos ago I mentioned that I had a whole stash of leads that needed to be put somewhere and looked after? Join me while I quickly extract this lead from this belt sander, and I'll show you how quick and easy it is to fit a new one. Now 19 meters per second, that's got to be getting right up there with the panther and the leopard, so I think belt sanders deserve a lot of respect. Keep your bits out of the way of a belt sander. I wonder if that's how they got his bits back at the hospital. I bet they had a lovely finish though, being stuck in a belt sander. Now, please don't try this at home, especially if you're the kind of person who's not going to turn it off at the wall and unplug it before you do it. But what I'm going to do now is get that microwave oven cord that I pulled out of my case, and I will need to remove a moulded block off the end of it where it went into the cabinet, because it's a little shorter, this lead, and I do want to make the most of what length I have. So I'll just slice this piece away, knock those terminals off the end of the wires, and the other thing is I won't be using the earth wire because the belt sander is double insulated and doesn't require an earth. Your handle will be secured by either plain ordinary Phillips screws, or they may have the Torx security heads, in which case you'll have to buy a little set of those. Now I've just removed the switch trigger assembly. That's got the forward and reverse, and it's got a locking mechanism, and we've got just 2 wires going in there, the positive and negative. Remembering, of course, the first thing is to pass it through this PVC reinforcing bit. That's the bit that so often gets forgotten because people think that it can be put on last. It has to be put on first. Slide that on, roll it up the sleeve and get it out of the way. And now I can cut off the terminals on the end of each wire. I'm going to leave the body of the terminal on there so that it acts as a ferrule and holds the wires together, just like on the old wire. Just taking off the insulation here so that it's bare and makes a good contact. We just need a little adjustment, just squeeze them up so they're a little squarer rather than flat. Back into their same respective holes. Live was down at the bottom and neutral goes in the top one here. And now we just tuck everything back where we found it. You can take note of the bends in the wires. Just look at the way the wire wants to sit, and you'll soon figure how things are meant to sit inside the handle. Everything just tucks in to its respective place nice and tidily. You see, I've had to move that over to this side. It sits nicely underneath the other cable. Bring the cable through, Not forgetting to bring the PVC reinforcing tube down and locate that into its groove. One last final check to make sure that everything's sitting down, and I'll put this keeper over to there, and I'll attach the keeper. That ensures that it can't ever be stressed, even if you were to pick the thing up and swing it round your head by its cord. A quick glance all around the handle to make sure that there's no wires hanging out. Have a look at where the little clips sit on this insert piece. And there we go. Now it will have popped the circuit breaker when I broke the wire, so I'll have to nip into the shed and reset the circuit breaker on the wall. That's something that you'll have to do too. You'll find your circuit breakers on the distribution board, and they often just have a little pop out plug that you poke back in again, and it's designed especially for situations like this where there's been a dead short and the circuit's been overloaded. So you'll never have to deal with live bare wires if you have a properly set up system. Alright, we'll plug that in. And yep, there you go. I will have to go and reset the trip. Just make sure it's not this one. I've got one on the end of the extension lead, but no, as I suspected, it's the main one in the shed. So I'll just nip in there and do that. Yeah, hey, we're back in business again. So that was less than 10 minutes, and it cost me nothing because I saved my old leads. Winning! With tiny house and off-grid resources.